watching Rogers TV. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest today is Ross Kentner, who is the mayor of Meaford, and it's always a pleasure to have Ross on Politically Speaking. Dare I say, Ross, you can take the broadcaster you can turn the broadcaster into a politician, but you can't take the broadcaster out of the politician.
I've been giving some thought lately to, my next career, and going back into broadcasting has a lot of appeal, actually.
Well, you're actually not unusual in that, because I know any number of broadcasters we have here in Grey County, particularly at your old stomping ground of Bayshore. They are people who are just in it because they love it.
It is a blood disease, actually.
I thought it was in the DNA.
Well, then that could be too. That could be because I had a brother, and when I saw what he was doing back in about 1960, I saw what he was doing. He was at CFOS actually at the end of the 50s, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is what I want to do. And took a lot of work, and you know what? It is a great field, just awesome.
Well, I would be remiss, and I can do this because Rogers doesn't pay me. I'm a volunteer. I don't work for Rogers, but I did notice that the CRTC has given permission for Bayshore's 560 CFOS to move to FM within 2 years.
Yeah.
Big change.
And I campaigned for that move. I told the commission in numerous meetings that if they wanted to preserve local news on radio, if they wanted to preserve, programs like Open Line and so on, they absolutely would have to change the rules and allow an AM to FM flip, even in this day and age, because actually AM is a total dinosaur. The cost of refurbishing an AM station is just totally out of the picture. So I'm so glad that this happened, and I think that I'm hoping that it does help prolong the life. To be honest with you, radio has, which is such a vibrant and awesome medium, has really fallen on hard times, very hard times. And I don't like to say this on your platform, but licensing utilities to be broadcasters was a big mistake on the part of the commission.
Right. There's a whole conversation we could have about that, because you're delving into broadcasting history.
Yes.
You're delving into a whole bunch of issues right there. But I will say that actually I don't listen to my car radio anymore.
No,
but I plug it into my truck. I have Apple CarPlay. I plug it my cell phone in, and hey, I'm listening to. I can listen to any station in the world that's on the internet. And by the way, yeah, I've got my app includes CFOS, so I do listen to CFOS on the internet in my truck.
Cool. Well, I think that they continue to do a lot of things well, and I think if I look at the whole big picture, and I see, the conglomerates and how they have squandered what they had. I have a lot of admiration for the people who continue to pursue business, and I have to express a little admiration for Moses Neimer, who continues to have control room operators for the morning show, for example, on their and he's someone who has kept his promises to the commission. And that to me was very important. You couldn't get licenses without making promises. And once you have the licenses, it's incumbent on you to keep the promises. And not many broadcasters did.
That's right. And actually, he now owns a piece of prime radio real estate, Zoomer Radio on 740 Toronto, which you can be heard anywhere on the eastern half of the North American continent at night.
And as you may or may not know, he has acquired one of the radio frequencies in Owen Sound.
That's correct. That's
So
correct. So, hey, you
see
never
how
know what you're going to hear on Politically Speaking because even radio is political, isn't it?
everything's political, I think.
Spoken like a true politician and a true mayor. So let's dig in.
Sure.
Um, Meaford has also jumped on the bandwagon of short-term accommodation regulation and is at the early stages of developing a short-term accommodation bylaw. Outline what's going on right now, Ross.
Well, not enough for the people who want to see, some real change and really fast. Nothing happens fast, I find, in municipal affairs, but this is a very, very challenging, file. And I think that I know people are not satisfied with the speed at which we have moved here, but I do believe that we are moving in the right direction. What people don't understand is that they say you're last off the mark. You're way behind the curve, but the people who led the curve are backing and filling and trying to fine tune and get to a place that meets everybody's requirements. Very, very difficult. So I'm hoping that what we have lost on the launch pad, we can gain on the landing, that when we do get there, and I realize we can't take a whole lot longer. It's just unfortunate that a few bad actors have really damaged a lot of people's lives. It affects their life when their house and home, is spoiled by, disrespect and abuse, which happens when people party all through the night next door to you. And there's just way too much of that going on. In fact, I've heard that we only had 11 complaints over the past year. I've heard that. That just tells me that a lot of people gave up on complaining. And you don't get a lot of satisfaction when you call for help at 2 o'clock in the morning. You just don't. And so there's a lot of issues, but STRs or STAs are part of our economic framework too, and we don't want to puncture an important part of the hospitality industry. So I wish people just understand that it is a balancing act, and it's a costly balancing act. And so the report that we received on Monday of this week disappointed me from the standpoint I think, put much too much emphasis on the cost of trying to regulate this product. I think that my attitude is, and I believe this is, I speak for pretty well all of council, that we would expect the people being licensed to pay for that process. And I think that anything less than that is being unfair to ratepayers. So that's where I'm coming from, and I think that we pretty much have sent staff back to the drawing board. There's some good things, I guess, in their plan, and I think they're trying to alert us that this isn't a cheap date, that this is going to cost money, but we don't want to drag our feet either here, and we want to get going. So I would expect that in the very near future, and I was hoping, we would have a bylaw by the 24th of May, 2024. I am bound and determined we'll have a bylaw for May 24 in 2025.
Sure. I think that I've had this conversation with just about every municipal politician that has appeared on the show over the years, because it's a very, as you said, it's a very significant issue in almost every municipality. And one of the things that, as you were speaking, I reflected on was that the particularly in town of Blue Mountains, who are kind of how shall I say it? They're the gold standard, at least in this area for STR regulation. They've gone back because they realized, okay, what we did at first worked for then, but we need to refine it. We need to do some, bring everybody together and make it work again. Peter Bourguignon was absolutely great with that. He said, we want to make it work for everyone. And I know Owen Sound is relatively new. I think they're in their first or second year of STR regulation. I think they actually did in there the fee license fee pays for the costing of enforcement or the costing of registration too. But South Bruce Peninsula has done it as well and are well ahead. So we've got lots of templates tailored
Yeah,
to each individual municipality. So let's hope that you'll get a template that will work for you.
yeah. It's more challenging than it appears on the surface. I told people, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we certainly have to turn out a wheel that actually aligns with our specific needs and desires in the municipality of Meaford. And bear in mind, the municipality of Meaford, it's very challenging because it's over 400 square kilometers, a big municipality, almost impossible to enforce, STR rules in to send a bylaw officer from downtown Meaford to Leith. You know what I mean? He's not going to arrive. Has to be two of them too. They're not going to arrive in time to really put out the fire. You know what I'm saying? It's just so. It is challenging, but we are committed to this, and I think that there are stronger voices on council than mine in terms of being emphatic that this has got to be solved. But it is a very awkward. The whole municipal structure is very awkward, and there are. If you have staff feeling that this is the way to handle this, or that we have to be really careful because this is how much it could cost us, and on the other hand, you have the councillors who say, we want to get this done, we want to get it done yesterday, and we don't care what it costs, getting a solution, you're backing and forthing and it takes time and it's very painful. But I think that we realize that we have to take the bull by the horns and do something. And if it costs us more than we think it should, we'll have to refine it. If it, isn't as effective as it should be, we'll have to refine it. But we need to get started.
Are you sure your middle name isn't Solomon?
Oh, no, no. I've never claimed to be or never, I always knew I was not, a high IQ person. And I'm sure lots of ratepayers will say he sure is not.
But the way you're speaking is that is actually probably the essence of politics is compromise, looking at all the needs, figuring out what works best, and coming up with usually or often Solomon-like decisions. So you never know, Ross. You never know. Actually, if you're looking at your career after politics, you might leave a note in your desk, your mayor's desk, for your successor, saying, "Good luck, Solomon."
Yeah. Well, you do need and more than intelligence, you need patience.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, if you don't like looking after people, you are not going to enjoy this job.
Very true. Very true. You have to have good people skills to be a local politician. It is said, and not certainly not by me, that the level of politics that is closest to the people is the municipal level. And after all, someone could come and ring your doorbell with a concern, or they could send you an email, and they expect an answer from you, the mayor.
Don't talk about emails in singular terms, like they come by the dozens, every day. But honestly, I do think that it's important that people enjoy looking after people and trying to resolve their problems. That is actually the most appealing part in many ways to me, but it is challenging. People are usually on one side of the fence or the other, and
Yes.
you have to be a bit of an arbiter, as you say, to be able to help them.
I just to take this just a little further, I was watching the results of the actually the post-election results recently in the Ward 15 campaign in Toronto, where there were two very, very different um, candidates. And what struck me is that they both said that what really worked was going door to door, meeting people where they were, shaking their hands, talking to them, but most importantly, listening to them. And that's, no matter who won, they both agreed that that was the essence of local politics. Even in a city where in Ward 15 there'll be 100,000 people.
I'm very, very, very concerned that if we do not uh, make municipal politics more understanding and appealing to people, then it's a very serious blow for democracy in general, because this is where, there is the opportunity. Most people know, or at least know who if they don't know them personally, they know their councillors and so on, which for the average person is very difficult to have a personal relationship with your MPP or your MP. But yeah, I'd like to just mention here that we had a bit of an open house yesterday at the community center in Meaford, and I wouldn't say we didn't have a big crowd. We were open from 10 till 2, and there was a desk for every department, and you could sit down and talk to the people in the department, personally, and any complaints or concerns that you have, and so forth. But anyway, I every time I could get my head up and look around, there were very meaningful, engaged conversations happening all around the room. And I thought, this is a great format. This really works well because all of the counselors were there too. But we weren't, we were sort of like you go here and say and talk to the planning department if you had a problem, and then you could go over and tap a counselor or two and say, look, I'm not happy with what I'm hearing here. Like, what can you do?
Or the flip side of it is to say, hey, you're doing a great job.
Honestly, I just had many, many compliments yesterday on the format, and I think we've done it like as counselors. We've invited people into a presentation at Meaford Hall, and we've sort of it was like a report card a year ago at this time. A report card from council. The staff has also organized their, come talk to us type things. This is a sort of an amalgam of the two approaches, and I thought it worked really, really well. And it shows that counselors and staff working together as we have to, and as we do successfully most of the time. So.
And I know that Owen Sound is planning something very similar. This show will be broadcast after that event, I believe, but they're planning a similar kind of sit-down event at the Bayshore for people to come in and talk to staff, talk to counselors, with hopefully the same outcome. But yeah,
Here's the thing: when people come to the council chambers, they don't understand. Somebody makes a deputation, they get a thought, and up goes their hand. I want to ask a question, or I want to talk about this. And I have to say, I'm sorry. The rules of the game are you don't have a chance to speak in this. This is the way the rules of engagement are. You can come and make your own deputation, or you can come and ask a public question. But again, so it's too formal. And so I think we need many more of this kind of. And so our CAO yesterday, I thought that she was a little disappointed with the number of people out. And I said, you know what? Just look around the room, see those conversations. This is working. And I said, we could do this 6 times a year as far as I'm concerned. And people would be a lot more happy, I think, with that kind of format and interaction, which you just can't get in a formal council meeting. It's just too formal.
You make the point, Ross, and I think it's a valid one. It's the metrics that we use. It's how it's not the number of people that are present, but the content of the conversation among those people that really matters. And if they're having civic and if they're having significant conversations with staff and members of council, then it's a value added event. But
I,
if you're going to count as in my line of work butts in pews, wrong metric.
Thank you.
and this will live forever.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about this for a second? This is
Sure, but we can move on. Let's move on to 150 years and 125 minutes. Hey, that's not Georgian Bay Explorer, is it?
No, this is a play written by Councillor Harley Greenfield, a very wry, dry wit, and it was 150 years in 125 laughter-filled minutes because people really got a charge out of this. It was so funny. And interestingly enough, in the early days, a lot of the jokes were about just the different morals of the time and the different attitudes, you know what I mean? But as we got through the decades, we get to more times that people can remember things like, well, why are we having regional government anyway? Well, to save money, of course. Belly laughs, you know what I mean? People got a huge chuckle out of that because we all know that regional government and regionalization leads to empire building and nothing else, and higher costs. So I believe, and I am a proponent of regionalization, but I understand that it can get out of hand, and it certainly did at certain times. And anyway, it was a great thing. We ended up with Alan Johnson singing his own Meet Me in Meaford song, and people leapt to their feet and clapped for the chorus, you know what I mean? And I thought, boy, oh boy, we have not had one 150th event that has not been hugely successful. And I just want to thank all the volunteers who pulled these events together. And we've had a great year of celebrations, celebrating the municipality. And I say to people, 24 years ago, when the municipality of Meaford was formed, uh, we really could not foresee the benefits that have proceeded. But now you look at this municipality, miles of shoreline on Georgian Bay, miles of shoreline on Owen Sound Bay, and just so rich and diverse. Beautiful landscapes everywhere, great lifestyles, growing very rapidly. I had an engagement with a practitioner in Meaford yesterday, and he said to me, Ross, there used to be a line, he said, between Thornbury and Meaford. And he said it was a line of progress that was moving in that direction. But he said, like the town of Blue Mountains was the place to be. And he says, do you know what? He says that line is between Meaford and Owen Sound now.
Mhm. Yep.
And this person actually has offices in Owen Sound as well as in Meaford. And I said, so you tell me which is growing faster? And he said, well, I think that, we find that the direction things are moving are from, southeast to northwest.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you're quite right. When you look at Grey County as a whole, the development of Grey County is all over the place. There are spots. I mean, Southgate has gone crazy. Um, Grey Highlands has development going on. You really begin to notice when the Toronto papers, whatever your magazines, start talking about the restaurants in Grey Highlands or in Meaford. I've never heard of that, but they're writing these rave reviews, and all of a sudden, okay. Oh, by the way, yeah, how many wineries does Meaford have now?
Are you talking about the ones that are on the books or the ones that are open? Um, I would say we have one notable at Coffin Ridge, and we have more on the drawing board, I would say. And when we have cideries, and yeah, it's so really the opportunities are tremendous. I just came from a meeting with SkyDev this morning, and they are getting ready to market their product. And so Shirley Keaveney, the deputy mayor, and I were treated to a presentation. And believe me, it is going to be an outstanding development. Really, really amazing.
Well, that'll probably come up between now and our next show, so we'll have a conversation about SkyDev, to be sure, on our next show.
Sure, no problem.
But the whole point about development is something that is ongoing. I mean, it's an ongoing conversation here on this show with politicians, and it's of both upper and lower tier. But it is something that is, you wouldn't have seen it 20 years ago. I don't think we would have seen it at all 20 years ago.
And I'd like to emphasize, I have seen just in the few years since I am not driving to Owen Sound every day, I believe that Owen Sound is going to make its 30,000 by 2030. By 2030. That I think that is happening. They're growing quickly and well. And yeah, I think that the whole area really is in a development mode. And I'm just going to throw out, because people say, well, who's going to occupy these houses that you're building, and who's really coming here, and where in the heck are they going to work? You know what I mean? And maybe I'm a dreamer, but to me, I see the what we call the clean energy frontier, and that's as distinct from the green energy frontier, but moving toward Meaford. I knew all kinds of people who commuted to Bruce Power, and the thing about it is the impact of Bruce B was quite amazing. Now they're working on Bruce C. And it isn't just the hydroelectric power, but it's also, the products, the spin-off products. And I can see, for example, we've got the greatest hospital system here, Bright Shores, with its, and I didn't agree with the name change, but I'm telling you that, what a fantastic hospital system we have. And I think that you're going to see some terrific medical developments come from nuclear power. And this area is going to be where these developments are actually sort of developed. And I think we're going to see some very, very high-end jobs develop in the area through nuclear medicine and things like that. And I feel that is probably going to be where the future lies in some of the higher jobs. My job, in my mind, is just simply this, because I've lived here since I was a teenager. People should not have to wait until they retire to come home to this municipality. They should be able to get a quality job and earn a satisfactory living and everything. And there isn't any question, we have handicaps and there are, issues, but I look at my great-grandchildren growing up in Guelph, and I don't think they have as many advantages as the kids next door, to be honest with you. I think because they have their own set of problems. And so I think it is going to be possible. And especially, in today's communication world, you can live on an island in the middle of, the Pacific and run a global business. I mean, it's that simple. It is possible, but I think that people want to live in Meaford and the Georgian Bay area. As I said to my friends at SkyDev today, I have not heard anybody say, "I just can't wait to move to Sarnia," where they have a big quota from the province for housing. I think people want to live on Georgian Bay, and they should be able to. But of course, they're going to need a job, and they're going to need, opportunities and amenities.
And on that note, Ross, we have to take a break. So we will be back in about 90 seconds. I'm David Shearman. This is Politically Speaking.
watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more, that's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Here are 3 reasons why your social strategies should include Rogers TV. Reason number 1 is we have hyper-local audiences. The community TV channel gives you a chance to engage with people where you live, so you really get to know your neighbors and they get to know you. Reason number 2 is we can help diversify your distribution. With social media, it's really important to be able to have a wider audience, and Rogers TV can actually help complement your online presence by delivering to a different audience. And it's actually really easy to repurpose your existing content or to just create new material specifically tailored for community TV. And finally, reason number 3 is we can help enhance your credibility and your trust. And by aligning your brand with Rogers TV, you can tap into that trust that viewers have. This can boost your reputation, especially among viewers who favor local businesses and value community involvement. 1, 2, 3. It's that easy to build your local audience with Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Carol Merton, host of HealthLink on Rogers TV. HealthLink connects home, community, and healthcare with interesting topics and speakers about your health and your community.
Hi, and welcome back to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest is Ross Kentner, who is the mayor of Meaford. Gee, Ross, that sounds like a very, very high title.
It has a nice ring to it.
Doesn't it, though? Doesn't it, though? As I say to an elected politician whom I happen to know very well, I said, hey, you earned it. The people gave you that title. So, you don't forget that.
And I can tell you, it's a 24/7 opportunity.
Are you recruiting people for mayor and council for the next council term?
Yeah, I would say I am. You know what I mean? I am quite concerned about succession, and I feel that I'm grooming our deputy mayor so that if she so chose, she would be ready to step into this. She attends every meeting that I have with the CAO, and when we come to our agenda setting meetings, I invite on a rotating basis another member of council in. So it's a four-way conversation, and that prepares all members of our council for they know now what's coming down the pike, which they did not know before, and I think it's important.
Yes, because one of the things in municipal politics, the way our system of governance is structured, is that the mayor is the head of council, literally the head of council, and the agenda is not council's; it is the mayor's. And it is, and what I'm hearing you say is, I'm going to bring people in so that they have an understanding of how the agenda gets developed. It develops trust, it develops relationships, and that sounds like a very good thing, very healthy thing.
It's not solely my idea. George Cuff, who is an expert in municipal affairs in our country, has advocated this for some time. And when I read it, I jumped on it, and it has worked very well. One little correction. I would say, in all honesty, the agenda is staff's, and staff knows a whole lot that council doesn't know, and that the mayor doesn't know. And that's natural. And let me just say this, that I have a much larger appreciation for the shareholder I worked for many years. His frustrations with me as his chief operating officer,
That's right.
So we don't always know, and especially we don't know the order or the timing on which we may know what staff is working on, and sometimes we don't, because they have their idea. They are the ones who know what it takes to keep the water flowing pure, or what it takes to avoid a spillage to the Georgian Bay from the sewage plant. they know all of this and we don't. So we rely on them, and so they set the agenda. But what we do is we discuss the agenda on a biweekly basis, and we're certainly in a position to ask for something to be advanced more quickly, or and I think it's quite important that over time, every member of council then gets to see how this is done. And I want to say another thing. One of the things we haven't achieved nearly what we wanted to so far, but one of the things we have got is more public advisory committees than we had before. Now, this has put quite an onus on staff because they have to staff those meetings and they have to, have agendas and they have to have minutes and all of that. But I think the important thing here is now we have got a lot more people than we had before who are in advisory capacities and working on issues of importance to our municipality in sustainability, in economic development, in health and wellness, and the whole gamut, and including pump storage. And what I'm seeing, I don't get to all of these meetings, but what I'm seeing is that some excellent candidates for future councils. People who are learning the ropes now and making contributions and sharing their ideas and learning from everybody else. There's where we are going to be able to successfully draw on talent in coming years. And I think that I like to say that is an important contribution that we've made during our term.
I would say that sounds like you're developing the farm team.
Yes. Yeah. And
Go Blue Jays.
Things have not gone perfectly on it. I can assure you. And there's hiccups here and blurps there, but at the end of the day, I think this is the way to go, and I'm proud of what we've done there.
Sure. And speaking of municipal process, you've got your budget process now laid out, and I saw a cool little flow chart that was quite good.
If you wondered what a municipal budget looked like.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you, David, this is, I've been through budget discussions now. It's through my first 4-year term as a councillor, and now this is the second year or third year is it? I've lost track as mayor.
Second.
Okay, I have not seen anything as tough as what we're facing at the moment. And it starts with a gargantuan increase from the OPP.
Ah.
And yeah, it is going to be a very, very challenging time. And I think that we're going through a lot of change, and we wanted a lot of change. But, you don't always get to, just because you get change, you may not get the change that you exactly wanted. And I think that we are going to have some struggles with this budget. But what I do know this is that our council is going to work together. And we're going to have to work with staff better than we ever have in order to get to a place where we can approve a budget and not get tarred and feathered and railroaded out of town.
Sure, because as we said a few minutes ago, all politics is local, and property taxes are probably the closest tax we've got to voters, and everybody expects miracles.
And what people don't understand, and you almost have to be a councillor before you realize it, but municipal government is the most under-resourced level of government.
Yeah.
And when I see the money that is being wasted by our provincial government, sending everybody a $200 check, for example, to get reelected in the spring, or whatever it is, and see how we are being under-resourced. So I think there's going to be quite a challenge to all municipalities in Ontario, the majority of which are policed by the OPP, and I don't know how they're going to absorb it. I believe I think I can say with confidence that it's a 21% increase we're looking at, which results that I think it is a 14% increase in our levy.
Wow.
Well, yes. I mean, how do you cope with that? So what I am seeing is that some municipalities are pushing back, and I think that I'm going to advocate for that as well. I think that we have to at least make the province aware that this is, not something that we can countenance. Uh, we're I think what the message that I hear loud and clear from staff is that we have had a large inflationary impact on our operations, bridges and roads, and the things that you need to build them, and the people you need to build them, and the engineers you need to engineer them are 20 to 50% more costly than they were, back in 2020. Our dollar does not buy what it did before. That said, I don't think that we can say, so that's now going to be your problem, folks. Your taxes are going up 30%. How do you like that? Nobody's going to be able to handle that. It just is totally unfair. And the problem lies with the federal and provincial governments, which know very well what they are doing. And the downloading that goes on in terms of social services in particular, which people don't understand, it's the county that is providing most of the social services that we consume in Grey County. And every year, the province downloads some more and some more. And I have not seen anything yet as far as the county budget is concerned. But suppose they say, we're just not going to be able to do anything without a 15% increase. Add that to our increase, and this is going to be very problematic. So, and as a minimum, we're going to have to move a lot of the things that we plan for the near future onto the back burner.
One thing I noticed, Tim Lanthier, the CEO of the Conservation Authority, he made a presentation to Owen Sound Council recently. And one thing stuck out to me, you talk about downloading. He pointed out that many years ago, 30 years ago, the province carried about 50% of the budget or more of the budget of conservation authorities. Today, the province's share is 5%. And that's what downloading is. It shifts the cost of conservation authorities who do essential work. Don't kid yourself.
Very essential work. I mean,
very essential work. But that's now come down to the municipalities.
If you look at the television news, how many times of late have you seen cars being floated down the highway, in a flood? And in Spain, similar climatic action resulted in over 200 deaths. So the work that the Conservation Authority is doing is very important, and they also do a good job of, I think, helping people enjoy their natural environment and actually raising funds through that, parking fees, for example, when you go to the beach, that type of thing. But at the end of the day, they also want is it $3 million to remodel their 50-year-old headquarters, and it's things like that we're going to have challenges balancing.
Yeah, very true. Very true. You'll get the talk from Tim if he hasn't already appeared at Meaford.
He was at Meaford on Monday before he went to Owen Sound, and I can tell you that I inadvertently cut him off. He had two presentations, so he had 20 minutes to speak, and at the end of 10 minutes, my head was on to the getting the budget tabled, and I cut him off. It's very, very sorry.
Well, go back, folks. If you want to see what Lanthier said about from the Conservation Authority, go and watch Owen Sound's presentation. Owen Sound City Council. It's there. He did both. He did two at Owen Sound. So, hey, this is the way it works in Grey Bruce. If you can't catch that one council meeting, you can catch it at another. Anyway, let's move on to. I thought there was a very interesting policy that your CAO presented, which I have seen these kinds of policies before, but they lay down the boundaries on communication between members of council and municipal staff. And we don't think about those kinds of things, but I think that it's intriguing on one hand to see that, hey, our conversations need to be civil and they need to be respectful and they need to be informative of each other.
And what are you saying?
Well, I'm saying it's an interesting policy.
Yeah, it is. And you know, it was unfortunately misunderstood by some members of council. I think that we all understand it. I would not have probably initiated that policy based on the fact that I know that everybody, you know, on both sides of the horseshoe understand it. But I can understand our new CAO is wanting to, you know, establish. You know, it's a new administration, especially on her side of the table, and so I think she wanted to just get it on paper, and it's there as because when you do have a problem, you need to be able to go to the policy and say, well, what is our policy? And so I think that's all it was about, but it didn't really. It was a bit offensive to some who questioned because the way it works, and you know this very well, David, the way it works is that I, as the mayor, can go and talk to the CAO as the head of state, if you like, and that's as far as it goes. It is only through the graciousness and the you know, desire to be collaborative that we're able to go and knock on the door of our department heads and have a chat about whatever's on our mind. And we do not knock on the door of a rank and file employee and say, we want you to do this, or you have to do that. That is totally verboten.
That's correct, and I think that's the underlying principle that citizens forget. You don't have the authority as mayor other than to speak to the CAO, and a councillor doesn't have the authority to speak to an employee, you know, and give them direction.
So yesterday, in this community connection event, it was just a pleasure to see everybody working together. And that said, I had a discussion at one table, and the person on the other side, you know, you don't have the right to tell me anything. And I said, yes, I know.
Well, those respectful conversations, I think, are the kind of the thing that makes our municipal governance work. Doesn't matter, you know, as long as we have those respectful conversations, then it works.
And I just think even it's unfortunate that even though we have, you know, through your facility, people are able to actually watch a council meeting from start to finish. And the doors are open, and let me tell you, the gallery is full. When there's an issue, you know, the gallery is full. But people still, I don't think, appreciate the fine points of the way the Municipal Act, and you know, the Municipal Act is. I've sat down on a number of occasions to read it cover to cover, and I've never succeeded because I know everything I need to know that's in it. But you know, it is not a document that is something you can read and it sinks in very readily. Yeah. Because all the, you know, 1-00246A, one small letters, you know, every section, every, you know, so it is challenging to, but I just wish people had a little better understanding of how it does work. And it does take a little bit of time as a counselor to learn how, what doesn't.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to some of the events that are happening in Meaford, because as we are speaking, the Remembrance Day is coming up on the 11th of November, and there will be, did I see you will have a large parade of 200 soldiers?
Yes. Yes, very, very happy about this. There's been a change of command at the 4th Canadian Division Training Center with Lieutenant Colonel Joe Tobin at the helm. The other thing that has changed is, this is now post-COVID, and during COVID, the training center, it was necessary to make a lot of changes to protect both the public and our soldiers. But there's definitely a new day dawning, and honestly, I'm very excited about it. So I think we can look for about 200 soldiers on parade on Sunday morning, and that is going to be, Monday morning, going to be very, very, exciting, because people in Meaford love to cheer and clap for their soldiers. We all respect, the contribution they make to our system and society. And I also wanted to emphasize, we do have a longstanding tradition in Meaford of holding an ecumenical church service on the Sunday before Remembrance Day. And that's an opportunity, and this is held at the community center, Meaford Simpsons Community Center. And it's a great opportunity for members of all churches and the general public, the unchurched. They're so welcome to come out and pay tribute. And I think it's just going to be a wonderful couple of days. And I am so pleased. We do close Syke Street, and there's only 3 occasions during the year. We can do it for our fallen soldiers. We can do it for Santa Claus. And what's the third one? I'm trying to think, but only 3. That's why we had to take the sesquicentennial parade down St. Vincent Street, because we could not get permission to close the King's Highway for a 4th time. But anyway, it is an occasion, and I'm hoping for good weather, and I've never seen anything but a large crowd for our November 11th services. So
Sure. Well, and the other thing that's you have celebrated is a special mural, the Canada Connects Family National Mural, that has been dedicated in Meaford.
it's right at the harbor, and virtually you don't do anything without complaints. And somebody did complain that you're blocking the view of the harbor. But honestly, it is a big mural. But if you stand at Syke Street and look down Nelson Street, you see the harbor, because it is not that big. But it is very, very attractive, and it is I talked to the designer. You know how this is done with individual tiles, and I either the eyes trick the brain or the brain tricks the eyes. I'm not sure which way it goes, but so you're able to look at this collage of all these individual tiles and see a picture that you can, this is a picture of a tree with its roots. And every community that has one of these is following the same theme. And it is the idea that, and you probably could explain this a lot better than I could, so I'll make it short, that the roots of the tree connect all of us. So you maybe could explain that a little better, but it's
many roots, many branches, but one trunk.
Okay. Anyway, it is a very, very attractive mural, and it's another, attraction at the harbor. And, we have such a beautiful harbor, and we have now got a collection of artifacts, nautical artifacts collected by Captain Bruce Shepard. We want to put them on display. They probably need some refurbishing before we do that. And there sort of needs to be a good plan as to where they're going to go and how people will, access them and see them. But that's an area that we really need to work on and want to. And it's disappointing when budgets are so tight that you can, let a master harbor plan collect more dust on the shelf,
Yeah, yeah. You're not alone in that. It's one of those things, unfortunately. Let's talk about, dare I say it, Christmas. Because it's rapidly approaching.
Yeah. So Christmas on the Bay. This will be year number 3. And this is a really exciting development for Meaford. I think what I like best about it is that it occupies Market Square in Meaford, and it demonstrates how what kind of a role Market Square can play in our community. It's the heart of the downtown, and it brings crowds there. So really, that whole area. First, it's the Remembrance Day ceremony at the Cenotaph, which is in front of Meaford Hall, and then to the north, Market Square, where where this Christmas village takes shape. And I should mention behind that, and this was mentioned in the 150 Years play, the old armories still stand at the back of Market Square. That's actually now a home hardware store, but it has that historic background. And then the old fire hall, which is right beside it, is having a soft opening as Station 87, the new fire hall restaurant.
That's great. That's great. And then there's the Santa Claus Parade.
Yes. Another biggie. And it is, I recall last year so well. I mean, and I think you've been in on these in the past from time to time. It's a really outstanding parade. Last year was just amazing.
We have a lot of fun here at Rogers with the Santa Claus parades. There's the Owen Sound Santa Claus Parade. There's Meaford. And there's, I think, a couple of others that we cover. But the thing I like about Meaford is that it is a really nice small town parade. And everybody's out watching. They're dressed warmly. Hey, can you arrange for snow?
I hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Don't want it for November 11th, but
no. Well, hey, the secret there, Ross, is dress warmly. Dress for the weather. I've done enough of those Remembrance Day parades that I know the secrets. But layer and dress for the weather is the big one. But the point is that the Santa Claus Parade will be taped by Rogers TV. I'll be doing the commentary again, along with a member of the Kinsman Club. And we appreciate being inside because we can watch on the cameras and we stay warm. But we will be covering it and looking forward to seeing it again. And that is on the first Saturday of December, isn't it? I think.
I believe you're right, because
December 7th.
Okay.
December 7th. So
because the village is open, I believe it is the 28th, 29th, and 30th of November.
Right. So Christmas in Meaford is always great fun.
It is, and this village has really put the icing on the cake. I think it is great.
Yeah. Now, Ross, locate the electrical socket for the lights, please.
I understand that's the pre-lighting ceremony is going to be held like on the 30th.
Okay.
So
it will be lit.
It will be lit like for the village, and we won't have to go through the agony. I just could not believe it. And I circled the hall 3 or 4 times and couldn't even find the crew that was, looking for the.
I know. And with that, thank you for being a part of Politically Speaking, Ross. It's been a pleasure, always informative, and I'm sure we will see you again before Christmas, but also we'll see you at the Santa Claus Parade. And friends, I'm David Shearman. This is Politically Speaking. We'll talk again.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hi, I'm Lynn from Third Eye View, and welcome to a brand new season that we're looking forward to. We have some return guests and some brand new guests. And in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your summer, stay safe.
Law & Order Thursday on City TV.
We have 24 hours to charge them.
Oh, no pressure.
All new episodes.
So we're down to 0 suspects.
Law and Order.
This man is a monster. But that does not mean that we get to exploit our power to get the result we want.
Followed by SVU.
It's going to be a fight to get this admitted in court.